What up, though? Rap Talk Motivation. And we got a subject tonight. Come on in, tune in. We're going to piggyback a little bit off of Benzino latest interview that's running on Math Hoffa's My Expert Opinion. They got an interview running, and recently they brought up the subject of talking about the mic rating system. If you recall and remember, from that era, you're showing your age if you is. Back in that era when the mic rating system in the Source magazine was something to deal with, whether you paid attention to it or not, or if you thought it was important, that was the deal. We're gonna talk about it. So share this video. As you come in, press the like button. That's if you will. It will help the algorithm, and it will push the video and the stream out a little bit more if you do. So again, we're gonna piggyback off of Math Hoffa's and Benzino's interview that they got running over on his channel, because it definitely sparked some interest and made me think about a couple of things of past years, as far as when the Source magazine had a rating system. And did it influence? Was it important? Benzino, being one of the owners of the magazine, he found himself getting emotional about it, talking about it didn't matter, which I didn't understand. He said it didn't matter. But you got to think again, that's in hindsight, just talking about it about what, 20 years later, maybe 20, 25 plus years later. 94, 95, 96. Those years of the Source magazine running and having that mic rating system. It actually did a lot, because it told a lot also. Sometimes that was a yay or nay if somebody was going to buy an album. That's what I think Benzino failed to realize. But I also was trying to dissect it and wondering, was he coming from the perspective of, today? Well, there's a reason. Is he speaking on it from the perspective of being an artist, saying that it don't matter? Being the executive of the magazine, saying that it don't matter? Or being a fan of hip hop, saying that it doesn't matter? Those are the things you need to pay attention to, or those are the things that need to be discussed. So I'm posing and asking the question, was the Source magazine mic review important? That's the question. Was the Source magazine mic review important? Like I say, it's level to this conversation. Being a fan, it was. It definitely was. I think it was. Now that word, emphasis on important, that can be carried a whole bunch of different ways, but was it effective? That's another different climate of the conversation too within itself. It definitely was effective. Because what we would do when we new albums was coming out, we'd go to the Source for the review. Because most of the time the review would come out before the album did. So guess what? If you're knowing that the review is pretty good, we probably more than likely gonna rush out to go get that album. I mean, whoever it was. I mean, like Mad Toffee even said something like that, and he was like, "You can't say that." It was a semi-debate, and Mad Toffee said it too. Like, you can't say that it didn't matter because it could be MC Rainbow or whoever it was. It could be somebody new that people didn't even know. And if people saw that they had 4 mics or more, definitely 4 mics or more. 3.5 was about average. I'd say 3.5 was about average. 3 was really average. But given the source was so critical, and I'm gonna get into it because I'm gonna say bias. Yeah, they were biased at times. Cause there's some albums that I know should have got more mics than it did. And on the other hand, there's some albums that got more mics that should have got less. So it can go both ways. It's just something to look at. But was it important though? Was it really a factor? Let's take it back. Let's take it back to the moments. Was they paying for some of those mics? Was they recycling through the advertising dollar? And piggybacking off of some of the funds that was being given into the album for marketing? Because that's really how important it was. I remember, it's funny, because a lot of people who old enough to remember that Benzino was part of, was it Almighty, RSO, and the Made Men. And if I recall, I think Made Men, now this around late in the times when the source was like about to, like when people was kind of moving toward the internet, people weren't really, buying them still late in the game. I remember they gave Made Men. Made Men had got 5 mics. I remember that. I was like, the Made Men album got 5 mics. I'm like, I know they did this on purpose. I'm like, wow. That was funny though. But I get it. It's their magazine, and they grew. Why would they snub themselves and not give them? That was crazy. But another part of Benzino's argument was that he was saying, why care? Because his whole take on it was that most of the people that was doing some of the reviews may have been people that don't live or move like some of the people from the culture. Well, not from the culture, but maybe from the streets. Basically, he was saying like if it's like he was talking about the Jeezy album. He was like they was about to give Jeezy his first album something like 3 mics, but he was thinking to himself like maybe they don't understand it. But then on the flip side, he said they was about to give Little Brother 4.5. I wonder what Little Brother album was that. Was it The Listening or The Minstrel Show? As far as my take, The Minstrel Show do deserve like 4.5. I'm gonna look up some of these. I'm gonna go to the net and look up some of these reviews. We're gonna go through a couple of them, and I'm gonna just see. I definitely remember that Aquemini had got 5 mics. It's like I said, that was a big deal. I remember that album had got 5 mics. And you gotta remember, that was from the South, Outkast. I remember that Aquemini album getting 5 mics. So that was at a time when there was a lot going on, especially the East and West feud and all that. And I wanna say it was right after that One Source Awards when Big Boy made that powerful statement talking about the South got something to say. So I'm trying to remember was that because the Aquemini probably came out what 9-6 maybe. So I know that was a 5 micer for sure. I think Biggie got 5 mics too though. I'm about to look up some of them real quick. Bear with me 1 second. I want to say Life After Death got 5 mics too. Source magazine albums that got 5 mics. Let me put this in. Source magazine albums that got 5 mics.
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. Albums that originally received 5 mics. People's Instinctive Travels in the Dance of Rhythm.
Oh, Tribe Called Quest.
America's Most
Okay, all right, Siri. Not about Siri, this is Jordan. All right, you can be quiet. Yeah. Oh yeah, Brand Nubian did. All right, let me go through some of these. So Illmatic did get, I don't know why I thought Illmatic got 4.5. But let me go through a couple of these. All right. All right, off top, America's Most Wanted had got 5 mics, huh? America's Most Wanted got 5. Brand Nubian, One for All. De La Soul, The Low End Theory. Look at that. You can just see the whole East Coast and all of this. The only one that ain't East Coast is America's Most Wanted. And they probably threw that in there because you got to remember the production on that album was Hank and Keith Shockley, the B Squad. So, it's crazy. The Source always been pretty biased. We know that. And that's why most of the time, most people that really was hip hop heads, we knew. So this how it go. This what we knew. We knew to give it like a little bit of a curve when it came to some of these albums. Especially by me being from the Midwest. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Detroit. So we weren't as biased when it came to certain of these albums, whether it be from the South, West, East, whatnot. But sometime when we saw, well, I'm gonna speak for me, Dan. I ain't gonna speak for most, but there might be some people out there who agree with me on this. We'll see. But it was like a little curve we had just had. Like, say for instance, if it was somebody from the South that dropped the album, and if I saw on the Source, okay, let's just say Big Mike, something serious, which is definitely a real classic album and a dope album in my book. I'm talking about a classic front to back. Big Mike having things. Now, let's just say if I looked at a Source and if I saw the Big Mike having thing, Big Mike Something Serious album, let's just say it had 4 mics. I would know in my head, like, that album is hard as fuck. Gotta be. Because if the Source is giving it a 4 and it's not from New York, I know that this album gotta be hard because they're not gonna give it a 5 for sure. But if they was giving it up for the 4 mics, something like that, I just know, like, okay, this one of the ones. That's just the way it go. But now, in that same token, if it's an album that maybe from that same area or whatever, or, outside of the East, they got a real low number, I might be curious to check it out too, because I might be like, oh, they probably just ain't know that album. Real people was able to understand and notice that. I don't know who these people was that rated these albums. Benzino said he don't even really know them like that. He said he wasn't going back there when they was rating the albums. That's what he said on Man's Time for. Y'all can check out the interview. He said he wasn't going back there checking out you know, when they was doing it. Like he ain't had nothing to do with it. But he, you know, he oversee the mag, of course. But he was like, he wouldn't have nothing to do with that. And he was saying, why do it matter? Why is it so important? Shit sells, that's why it's so important. Word of mouth is still powerful. If the source wasn't fucking with it, sometimes we wouldn't fucking with it. Let's be real. Sometimes it was going down like that. If the source saying it's a 2, man, we really thought it was garbage. Because the source, if they going out their way just to say an album is that much of a dud, and they saying like, okay, we give y'all a 2 or 1, that's embarrassing. They at least give you a 3 just for average. But if they give you a 2 or something, like, I don't remember nobody really getting on 2. It may have been 1 or 2, but I definitely won't remember it today. If you got like a 2 or a 1, I definitely don't remember nobody getting on 1. That's just insulting you right there. They don't know why they even just put them in the mag. I also wonder, I mean, I ain't watched the whole interview with Benzino and Mad Hoffa, but I wonder did they used to have to pay to get the album reviewed? I wonder did they have to do that? I wonder did it go like that, or was it just chosen? I wonder how did that work? I ain't saying like you pay to get your mics, but I'm saying like, did you have to pay to be in the mag to get a review, or did you just send it and they just review it on their own? Because if you think about it, whatever they give your album, it still was advertising, because your album was shown in the magazine of getting rated. And there was a couple of albums, I think, let me see if I can think of some albums that I just wanted to be 5 that didn't make 5. Oh, the Blueprint was 5? Blueprint, Jay-Z. That was a 5 marker. Stillmatic, that was a 5 marker. That deserved 5 markers. Oh yeah, The Fix. Yeah, they surprised me with that one. They gave Scarface The Fix 5 mics. That was dope. That was. Oh yeah, they gave Lil Kim. Yep, I do remember that. The Naked Truth album. And that was a nice album. That was a nice album though. But I don't know about 5. They gave Trill OG. That was a Bun B album, right? Yeah, that was Bun B. That wasn't UGK. That was Bun B album. They gave that 5 mics. Kanye, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Yeah, that might have been like the last ones right there. But there's a lot of albums that's missing. Some of them was getting snubbed though. You got to think how much notoriety, can get it out. Notoriety would come when you get 5 mics. It could actually be a gift and a curse sometimes when you get that many mics. Because if it don't live up to the standard in the streets, we can still say the source full of bull, full of shit too. Because like, look at some of these albums that did get the 5, but they was giving little explanations in some of the commentary if you would read it. But everybody do have their own opinion on music, and everybody do have their own albums that's better than others and ones they respect. That Tribe, I don't know if I would have gave that 5. But I don't even lie though. That's one thing I'll admit. I wasn't even up on Tribe like that back in '90. I mean, I was up on Tribe, Need Apple Bump and all that. But I wasn't fucking with that, with the whole Native Tongues and the East Coast and that whole movement like that till a little bit later in my years. '90, I was straight listening to the Ruthless album. I was listening to NWA, DOC, Eazy-E, those albums. 89, 90. That's what I was bumping. But I definitely knew Beneath the Apple Bomb, but I couldn't really get into. I couldn't even pronounce the damn title of this album when it came out. I used to just see the cover and I used to be like, they got that long ass title. I'm like, People Instinctive Travels. And I'm like, man, what is they on? But definitely, as time passed and years goes on, The respect is definitely there. And De La Soul, they had got 5 mics too. De La Soul is dead. See, I wasn't really on all that. Let the rhythm hit him. Of course, Rod, the guy in MC, he dope, but I wouldn't have gave that no 5. 90, like I say, 90, and then One for All, Brand Nubian. If you look at the pattern right here, I'm looking at it. All these albums came out in 1990. So they were just on a 5 mic spree, just giving away 5 mics in 1990. Matter of fact, Q too, but that was hardcore. It's 1990, all these albums. So they were just on a 5 mic spree. They gave it to Brand Nubian, Tribe Called Quest, Rakim, and Ice Cube. So that's 3 out of 4 is from the East Coast. You tell me. You tell me. But the Source was definitely one for the books. I used to collect them joints. I used to collect them. Matter of fact, I still got a shitload of them somewhere. But not right here in my possession. I know where they are now, but they in a place where I used to stay. One of them joints worth something. One of my favorite covers. What's one of your favorite Source covers? One of your favorite Source magazine covers? Put it in the comments. I want to say one of my favorite was what was one of my favorite? Most of the ones I'm looking at in my head was from The Vibe. Shit, that one with Death Row, that was from The Vibe. That wasn't even the Source. The Source, they was having some good articles here and there. This thing would all went into the production of a magazine. You had to work a month ahead before the albums came out. Because you got to remember, everything wasn't fast the way it is today. Everything fast now. You can do shit quicker now, but it wasn't moving and grooving like that years back when you had just typewriters and tape recorders and you had to press it up through a publication and print the sheets out and all that and get it back. Even though there was a machine, it still was a process. Albums coming to you early. And then they got to get it out in a timely manner beforehand. Because you got to remember, sometimes people have advertising in the books and in the magazine, and their album didn't even come out. I used to remember that shit. I used to pay attention to all that. And some of them albums I used to be looking forward to. The dates would be wrong. The albums get pushed back. All of these are just politics of the game. But if that shit published and out already, there's nothing you can do about it. If you didn't brought a page in the magazine, and you told them and you told them to print out that the album gonna be out April 15th, and you going in the March issue, and April 15th roll around, and you put it in the April issue too, and the album ain't out, man, that's confusing to the consumer. And it could possibly cost you some sales, all that. All those things play a key and factor. It's business. Shit ain't fast now. You can just stream it. Like me and you right now can make an album or a song and put it up by the weekend. Or we can say the album coming out this weekend too after we finish. One button away. But the Source was a major publication. The Source, Double XL, Vibe, Murder Dog. Murder Dog was for the South and the West for sure. They was pushing that independence. They was circulating. And then that's when other magazines started coming around, more of the street stuff. Like, what was it, Feds? What else? It was another one I'm trying to think of. But it was a couple of others flourishing. And then DVDs came into the picture. Remember, DVDs came into the picture. Smack. Forbes. DVDs, they ain't think none of that was going in. None of that shit. All this shit people be doing, they be thinking they going in. That's what be so crazy, because people making so much bread and money off of it. But we should learn our lesson, especially now with the internet. Even with this YouTube, you start getting that money on YouTube, the smart thing to do is put up. Because a lot of people be thinking it ain't gonna stop. Even though I don't think YouTube going nowhere no time soon, and the money is circulating. I don't think AI is too much of a threat though. A lot of the way people thinking, that shit ain't too much of a threat to communication, I think. I don't think so. I think the last of the last was the internet. I can't see it going past the internet. It'll be more on the internet for communication. But I think this might be the last of the last as far as ways to communicate. So when you do find a way to eat off the internet, because I remember, like I said, when the DVDs came, people started doing those, because the DVDs had turned into magazines, basically. People were doing their advertising through the rawness of other DVDs, of the smacks and all that. That was just like an issue. And they had to go through the same loopholes and things too of other magazines. They had to go do the interviews, get the freestyles. They had to catch up with the dudes. They couldn't just fly it like you can now, like send it to me. They had to go to another city and do the interview, come to your hood. A lot of people don't know that's what French was doing. French Montana, I remember. He came around the way one time and did a interview and let it freestyle for some of the homies from around the way, which was getting into music and, wanted to advertise. So French came through and recorded it. Oh, Cocaine City too. That's what he was doing. He was in Cocaine City. Cocaine City and Smack is two different things, if I recall. But they all were just entities that was just floating around. So they kind of moved the magazines out the way, because Source, they wasn't fucking with the DVDs, but Source was pushing towards the internet. And now, the internet, they trying to keep it alive. Like, you can go to the Source on the internet and catch some stories. I remember Double XL going to the internet. I remember the Source going to the internet, all hip hop. That was one of the first ones I got up on, was all hip hop. It was another one too, I can't think of, but that was all hip hop. They was the ones that had all the news quick. They was putting it up, having interviews, everything. That's when the magazines started going to the internet. That was the next move. It's always people looking for the next. That's just business. But as quick as we can get out communication and content right now, oh man, it's people eating. But part of this 5 mics though, boy, that shit was real. It was real. I can't take it away. I can't take it away from the impact that it had. It's kind of like, if you think about it in a sense, it's kind of like how radio personalities and all these people are now. When some speak on an album and say that it's good or say that it's bad, hot, the same way it can affect when people go out and get it, that's the same way the mic system was. But if you notice though, I noticed that most of these radio personalities and major content creators, I kind of noticed that they stay away from speaking on other people's albums like they used to. They don't really do it like they used to. They just let it be. And I get it though. The artist is so sensitive. Artists are so sensitive. So who really want to deal with that shit? Because really, after you put the shit out, the shit really ain't even yours no more. I done said this multiple times that artists should understand that, but we live in a world where everybody that created is so sensitive. It's like right now, if you don't like this live, it's cool. I'm not tripping. I'm putting it out there for criticism. I'm putting it out there for conversation. You can't please everybody. But I guess most of them look at each other like they're peers. Because you got to remember, these people run into each other at the same places and all that. Even Charlamagne, he don't do it like he used to. I noticed that. He don't go out his way to speak on people's songs and music like he sort of used to. He just leave it alone. I mean, he probably promote on his IG maybe, or, get a nod to some, which is cool. But actually, that's what really made people like Charlamagne stand out, because he was outspoken at a time when everybody was ass kissing everybody's music, everybody's song. And he was on one of the biggest radio stations and was able to speak on people's songs and albums like that. And that shit either hurt or help. It either hurt or help people's albums. That's what it do. And that's what the Five Mighty did. You might as well say if you got a 4 on up, you was good to go. If you got a 4 on up on the mic tip and the source, you could expect to be talked about for a little bit longer than the average. But I guess some people got snubbed though. If these are only 15 albums they done got it, there's definitely some other dope material out there that got snubbed with the. I don't know why I thought DMX got 5 for one of them albums. I guess he didn't. I don't know why I thought DMX, especially for one of them ones when he was dropping them back to back. But Life After Death definitely worked. Damn, so Pac didn't never get 5 mics. I guess we can expect that too. I don't want to say expect, but you got to remember that whole East Coast, West Coast started going on at the peak of the sources. But 94, 95, 96, that's when the source was at its peak. All Eyes on Me should have been 5 mics. I don't see that shit up here. All Eyes on Me should have been 5. Me Against the World. How many mics did Me Against the World get? Let me Google that shit. Let me see something. How many mics did Tupac Me Against the World get in the source? 4 mics. Alright, Tupac got received 5 mics. How many mics did Me Against the World get? Oh no, I do say 5 mics. No, hold on. The source increased Me Against the World rate to 5 mics. I remember. In 2002, this don't even sound right. It say in March 2002, the source increased Me Against the World's rank to 5. Man, what type of shit is this? Come on, man. I'm talking about originally. So, see, that's that. Well, I guess you can't change your mind out of respect. So I guess it got 4 when it first came out. But according to Google's, in March of 2002, the source increased it to 5. Oh, they playing games. What type of shit is that? Oh yeah, I heard they did that they were talking about that too. They redid Reasonable Doubt too. Reasonable Doubt should have been 5. That was 5. I don't know how many originally got. If Illmatic got 5. Reasonable Doubt should have got 5. That's just my own opinion. But they did give it to the Blueprint, the first Blueprint, blue one. That deserved it though. That was Jay-Z. That's basically, well, that's Jay-Z's best album. In my book, that's Jay-Z's best album. It's between that and the Black Album. But Reasonable Doubt definitely was stellar. It was the first one. You can still listen to Reasonable Doubt and catch some lyrics. You can still listen to Reasonable Doubt and catch some lyrics that you didn't catch back then. Illmatic too. I want to say Capone and Noriega, they got like 4.5, something like that. How many did the War Report get? Let me see. How many mics did the War Report get from the Source magazine? CNN War Report. War Report, what? Channel 10 plus sport. Plus sport, what? How many mics did it? Let me see, the Source. How many offset mics? How many mics did the War Report get from the Source magazine? They got 4. The War Report got 4. Now that was a classic. Like I said, see, 4, anything 4 on up was good. Let me go to some West Coast people though. Oh, they got some other albums they got 5 mics. Hold on, let me see. Criminal Mind, they got 5. Strictly Business. Hold on, let me see something. Oh, that was like one of the first albums. LL Cool J, Radio. Matter of fact, I went to go see them too when they came here. LL, The Roots, Common, Ice-T for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. LL did his thing, I can't lie. I don't even want to lie. He history. That was one for the books. I was in that boy gigging. Yeah, we was in there going crazy. LL. Let me see. Oh, they gave Criminal Minded. Oh, this way back 87 when it was Source. Was the Source even around then? 87, 88? This is something else. No, these ain't 5 mics. This is some other rating. Let me get off of that. The Source magazine 5 mic, right? I guess these was. Oh yeah, these was albums that got 5 mics. But I guess, all right, let me quit talking shit then. They got DOC on here. So DOC got 5 mics in 89. The Ghetto Boy, Grip It on the Other Level. Okay. That was my shit. Ghetto Boy, Grip It on the Other Level. Yeah, that's a 5 mic. Main Source, Breaking Atoms. Death Certificate, hell yeah. Y'all already know. Anybody who follow my channel, they already know Death Certificate. Definitely got 5 mics. Chronic got 5 mics. Why I don't remember some of these? Wu-Tang, Enter the 36 got 5 mics. Man, no, this can't be right. This ain't right. It's just a list of some albums that maybe probably got 5 mics. Let's see. That's what I'm reading on. These albums, the only thing Chronic got 5. Now some of these did, but some of these didn't. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think all these Slick Rick, Granted Ventus, I know they ain't getting no 5 mics to that. I mean, it deserved at least about 4. It's a classic on there. Or did it? Wow. Maybe it is. All right, let me get off of this because it's a big tad bit confusing. I'm reading because I want to believe this. I just Googled source 5 Mike albums, but some of these albums, because I definitely don't think NWA Straight Outta Compton got no 5 mics or DOC. Fuji's. All Eyes on Me. Oh, these are just some good albums, though. Nah, Stillmatic definitely deserve that 5 mics, though. Cause I tell people again, I fuck with Stillmatic more than I fuck with Illmatic. It was just more polished. It was just more grown eyes, more chill, more. And plus, it had ether shit. How can it not get 5 mics? You got ether on that. You got ether on that motherfucker. One of the hardest diss songs ever, besides No Vaseline and a couple others, is definitely in the talks. But you had to have a Stillmatic. Because with that ether alone, yeah, that should be a 5 mic. That's why their certificate should be a 5 mic. Because No Vaseline. No Vaseline was on there. But all in all, though, you tell me how you feel, though, in the comments. Was the source 5 mic? Was the source rating review important? Was it important for the culture? Was it important for the album sales? Was it important to the artists? Was it important for the labels? Shit, it was important for the magazine, everything. Benzino, you can't downplay this one, homeboy. You can't downplay this one because that shit go down in the books. It's probably people still mad because they didn't get the mic they felt they deserved. But even though the source is a East Coast based magazine, at the end of the day, people still want New York respect, though. I don't care what nobody say. To a certain extent, because that's where hip hop began. I mean, it begun there. I mean, we all know that, and we all get it. I mean, why? Who wouldn't want to be respected by the birthplace or the pioneers, the founders? If you're doing the craft, and even though you took it somewhere, I mean, if you're ignorant to the game and just in it for what you're in it for, I get it. But if you really got some type of integrity about yourself, and you really an artist, you're an artist. You want some respect from the pioneers of this shit. I mean, that's even why they had the biggest celebration this year. I still gotta watch and check out the concert too. I didn't check it out. I heard Mask Appeal put up a whole video, a whole production of the concert. I didn't watch it, but I did catch the leg of the show that came here with LL, The Roots, and Common, Ice-T, MC Light. Who else was it? If I forget somebody. Oh yeah, Bone and Bone Thugs was there. It was pretty dope. It was something to see. But I wouldn't attach it to the 50 years of hip hop like that. It was. I just said it's an LL concert. I ain't about to attach it to the 50 years, even though everybody moved city to city and did concerts and off the name of the 50-year anniversary of hip hop, and everybody built it and made money and did what they did with it. I get that and respect that. But I'm gonna just look at it as an LL concert because it definitely could have been more artists on there. There wasn't even nobody from the South on there, now that I think about it. It was Midwest, East Coast, and the West. Ice-T represented the West. Then Midwest, you had Bone Thugs and Common. That's Chicago, Cleveland, LL, New York. The Roots, that's East Coast, Philly. Wasn't even nobody from the South on the show. So I mean, it is what it is. That's why I said it was just a good LL concert to me. I mean, even though other people were dope on there, and it was all for the good, all to the good. But as far as the memorabilia of 50 years of hip hop, and if they were trying to just carry on that name, I needed a list. Shit, I needed. But it was cool how they did the concert though, because I liked the way they did it, the old-fashioned way, as far as window breaks and all that stopping and all that shit all up in it. And, you know, it was a straight up just run of a show. A couple hours in, artists come up, artists go down. Some DJ in here, that Jazzy Jeff was there too, and another DJ. I forgot his name. Crazy. I don't even know what Trip, DJ Trip, something like that. No disrespect to him, but I just didn't know what he was. But he definitely has some transforming skills on that motherfucker, though. I don't even lie to him. And even though Jazzy Jeff is one of the ones who invented the transformer scratch, but that DJ that was there, he was going real fast. He was cutting up. So respect to all the different people that was there, and it definitely was something to do with a team. If you love the culture, like I said, this LL period shit, that was history right there. LL don't come out too often. I know he don't come make his run over here to the Midwest too often. But I'm gonna check out the concert that they did in New York, because it had to be the biggest, because that's the birth of hip hop. So I get it. So they should have had the biggest concert with the most people there and all that. The Source Mag. Like I say, it all come back to the pioneers. I mean, when you really dig deep and dig back, it's gonna come full circle to the pioneers of the game. But it is what it is. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Poetry and conversations, and just on the whole tip of the Source magazine, I'm just piggybacking off of the interview with Math Hoffa and Benzino that's running right now. There's so much stuff trending and going on, but I had to speak on this because it's like in the essence. Especially, I was just curious, and I love to hear some more feedback in the comments though, as far as if the Source 5 mic review really mattered, was it important. I'll get with y'all in a minute though. Rap talk.